Welcome everyone to our live today. I am here with Bianca to talk about how to unleash your potential by leaving your comfort zone. This is something that both Bianca and I have struggled with throughout our careers and as entrepreneurs, and we are here to tell you that it is easier than you might think, and we're going to be sharing some amazing tactics that you can start applying right away to help you do this in an easier fashion so it's not quite as scary. So thank you for everyone that is here. And Bianca, thank you for being here with me. If you want to introduce yourself to those who in our audience don't know you yet.
Yeah, so thank you, Lori, for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm excited. Hopefully, everyone that's here gets some type of tidbit from today's live. So, I am Bianca Emily. I am the CEO and founder of BE Empowered Multinational. I'm a serial entrepreneur and I'm a speaker. So, that's just a little bit about me.
Amazing. Thank you, Bianca, for being here with me. The energy that we got from each other when we met was just amazing. So I'm glad that we were able to do this together and communicate that energy to everyone else as well so they can benefit from our knowledge. So, like I said, it can be kind of scary to get out of your comfort zone. It's the exact opposite of comfort, right?
Mhm.
So, it's not quite as hard as we might think. And, if we're going to grow, we have to take risks and fail, or we're not going to have any success at all whatsoever.
Mhm.
It's very difficult to reach a goal that's something new that you haven't achieved yet if you aren't going to change what you are doing right now that's already comfortable. So,
Mhm.
if you want to reach a goal and you're ready to try and make that happen, then and you're ready to unleash your potential, then this live is for you. So let's go into it, Bianca. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you've overcome this and how you've helped others do the same.
Yes. So let's start off by saying what being uncomfortable is. First off, I'll say for me, and I think a lot of other people that I've coached and talked to, is the fact that we tend to settle. So when we are in our comfort zone, we are in this small little bubble and we are so conformed. We are so comfortable. We have settled where we are. And even though there's certain things that we aspire to do, that we want to do, we are so comfortable in this little box. And when we try to take these actionable steps, we kind of feel frozen like, no, I can't step out because I kind of like where I am. What if people don't accept me? What if I make a mistake? What if I fail? And for me, that journey was it was extremely hard mentally when I was going through it. Obviously, I aspired to do certain things. I figured out what my purpose was, and when I figured out what that was, and I knew that I needed to do X, Y, and Z, I was like, wait, but am I really able to do this? I
Mhm.
don't know where to start. I don't know what I should do. Who should I lean towards? It's these limiting beliefs that come into our mind and then just stop us where we are. So I will say that I've been able to push through that, but it was a journey.
Yeah, it takes time. And, any person that you see as successful, like, I want to be like them, they've experienced imposter syndrome, they've
Mhm.
failed, they've gotten back up, and they've tried again. Like,
Mhm.
literally the process. If you're not going to fail, then you're not going to succeed. So, sometimes we see these people who are super successful as like infallible and like they've always been so like perfect and without flaw. And that's just not the case. Every single celebrity, every musician, any person that you see is like typically successful, or maybe, it's something simple like being a stay-at-home mom, or,
Mhm.
being an entrepreneur. You have to be able to take risks and fail if
Mhm.
you want to progress. Any person that you see as successful has gone through that process.
Yep. And I love that you talked on and mentioned imposter syndrome. How
Mhm.
many times haven't we heard people say, "Oh, just fake it till you make it"? I
I
despise
hate that advice.
that saying so much. You're going against who you are, trying to be somebody else. How many times haven't you gone on Instagram and you're like comparing your life to someone else and you're like, they have a perfect life? No, they don't have a perfect life. They're just showing you the great portions and pieces of their life. And
Yep.
what we hear now more in social media is, oh, well, I reached out to this coach or I reached out to this person because they knew who I was, because they were true to themselves. They weren't faking it till they made it. They were being authentic. They were being real. I tell
Right.
people all the time now, like people who are entrepreneurs who are kind of like hesitant just to even start doing social media and start doing videos. I tell them all the time, I'm like, there are times that I get on TikTok, I get on Facebook, and I do a video and I just record and I do one shot. If I mess up, who cares? People are going to appreciate the fact that I'm a real person, not that I sound here like this scripted person and Bianca's perfect. No, I'm not. No one is. Like, be you. Once you,
Yeah.
once people realize that they can be themselves, like after that, no, you don't care about what other people think. Like people are going to be attracted to who you really are.
Yeah, one thing I suffered from for a long time was the spotlight effect,
Mm,
because I was raised by a perfectionistic father, so I was conditioned to believe that everyone was always hyper analyzing every single thing that I did, and that I needed to be perfect in order to, meet any type of standard or be worthy. And once I expanded my tribe and got out of like that mindset, like saw that more people were not like that, like, oh, everyone isn't hyper analyzing me,
mm-hmm,
everyone isn't noticing every single tiny little mistake that I make. And I have fibromyalgia, so sometimes like thoughts just don't come out the way that I would like them to. And as a public speaking coach, like, right, I should be very eloquent, and I do my best, but it's not always going to come out exactly how I want to,
mm-hmm,
because that's just part of my life. So, I practice as much as I can, I prepare as much as I can, and people are not analyzing and
mm-hmm,
hyper analyzing you nearly as much as you think. When you let go of that,
mm-hmm,
then you can be more relaxed, and then as a result, be more authentically you. I feel like when people say like fake it till you make it, a lot of the time they're wanting to communicate upskill, because that's what you
mm-hmm,
should be doing. Like, oh, I don't know how. So it's not, I'm just going to pretend. It's, okay, I don't know how. So I'm going to do some research and figure it out.
mm-hmm,
And this is like, we live in 2023. You
mm-hmm.
can go learn anything
Yep.
that you want
Yep.
anywhere. So it's not like 30 years ago when the internet barely existed and there just wasn't as many resources out there. There were still books, but you every library didn't have them. You can get anything on Audible. You
Mm-hmm.
can get any type of information off YouTube, tutorials for anything. Yeah. So I always not liked that, because I feel like there's just better advice. Like, do something to learn to
Mm-hmm.
get better.
Yep. And I'm
Yeah.
glad there's two things that you mentioned that I want to bring back up. With the audibles, people always say, well, I don't have time to like read a book. Audibles are great. I actually listen to them when I'm working out because it's just quick and easy. I'm listening to whatever they're saying and I'm in a workout. So it's like, yes, you can find time. Again, you make time for the things that are important in your life. If
Mhm.
you
Saying you don't have time just means it's not important.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And if you are an entrepreneur and you really do want to grow, you want to have a successful business, then you do need to find time to invest in yourself. You do need to find time to read books, how to get better, how you can help other people. Like you have to take the time to grow. Again, talking about comfort zone, you don't want to just be sitting in this bubble saying, oh, well, I know everything. I'm perfect. This is the way that I am. There's no need for growth. There's no need for me to elevate. There's always things that we can work on.
Mhm.
Um, and the other thing I wanted to mention, so so you weren't the only one, and I'm glad that you touched on this because I'm sure there's somebody else out there that's probably listening right now that has gone through this as well. So you were mentioning like your father, how it was a very like kind of like a perfectionist type of household. Is that kind of right?
Yeah.
What you were okay. So I can relate to that. So what can you tell anyone who's listening? What was it that was able to kind of Besides your tribe, what did you have to do within to
personally.
really break out of that? Because that's not easy for some people. Some people stay stuck in that in their adulthood and then they pass it along to their children. And then here they are telling their children that they have to be perfect. And then it's
Right.
like this vicious cycle.
Yeah, I was committed to not continuing that cycle with my daughter. Um, she tells us, but mommy, you don't have to be perfect because
Oh.
we tell her that.
Mm.
So when you start hearing your kids say the things that you're teaching them, it's just like, oh, that's a win. It just feels so good. And so, like, when I'm trying to get something like exactly right how I want it to be, like, there's a difference between excellence and trying to make something perfect. And
Mhm.
I have a high standard of excellence. I've always just, and maybe that comes from my father, but I've always just naturally been able to bridge the gap between intent and impact, whether for myself or someone else. And, um, just it really was the tribe. A lot of it was. It helped me change the synapses that were firing
Mhm.
from childhood to say, this person is going to judge you really, really harshly. So you need to automatically go into this state and mindset of, okay, what do I need to fix right now to make sure I don't get criticized?
Mm.
But for example, when I did my first LinkedIn Live, my friend Shelly did it with me because for me, it's always a tech issue. Whatever it is that I'm trying to progress with, like if it's with my business or whatever, I'm like, okay, someone can like help me with the tech thing for broadcasting on LinkedIn. I bet I can do this. And it's so much more comfortable with someone doing it with you, right? Like this is
Mhm.
conversational. So she just, did it with me, guided me through it, and it was so much more simple than I thought it would be. And at the end of the conversation, when we weren't live anymore, I asked her, I was like, so how did you feel about that? And she's like, it was great. I was like, really? Like, really? Are you sure? So,
Wow.
the more and more I've had other reactions from
Mhm.
people, it changes how my synapses fire in my brain because our brain likes to travel down our brain likes to signal our synapses down the path most frequently traveled,
Mhm. Yep.
just like the poem. And um, and it's just because it's familiar, not
Mhm.
because it's going to help us progress,
Yep.
not because it's going to keep us safe. It's because it's familiar. Your brain can predict what will happen.
Mhm.
So if you want to, change and get out of your comfort zone, helping your synapses to fire differently can
Mhm.
enable you to do that. Now, one of the things that can really make a big difference in recognizing where you need to change is when you're having a big feeling. You're like, oh my gosh. And I say it like that because that's how I term like big emotions for my daughter.
Mhm.
Like, oh my gosh, why am I having this intense reaction? What's going on? And for me, it was when I started to be like, okay, I'm going to run my own business. Like, I'm done working in marketing. This is what I want to do. I'm owning my power. And when I started to, I was literally like almost having anxiety attacks. Like, I'm
Mm.
going to get in trouble type of imposter syndrome, but it was
Mhm.
extreme because as a child, whenever I acted assertively, I would physically get beat. So owning my power was like, you should not be doing this. You are going to be physically hurt, shamed, psychologically abused.
Wow.
So recognize, and that's like an extreme situation. Not
Yeah.
everyone experienced that during
Yeah.
childhood, but noticing, oh, that made me really uncomfortable. Like, okay, but I want this. Like, I want this thing on the other side of this discomfort.
Mhm.
Okay, what do I need to do to get there? So asking that question
Yep.
and then surrounding yourself with different type of people who are going to respond in a positive way
Mhm.
towards what it is that you did that made those two things probably helped me progress really fast. Thank you, Rebecca. Yes, it is such an important topic, and that fake it till you make it,
Yeah.
it's basically saying you're not good enough yet as you are. And like,
Mhm.
that is a different attitude than I can learn this. That's
Yeah.
for a growth mindset versus a limited mindset.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And isn't it crazy how even stuff that's happened in our childhood then comes into our adulthood, and until we figure it out and until we take time to realize, oh, this wasn't normal, this
Right.
wasn't right. Things shouldn't be this way. Because then again, it continues in our business, it continues in our personal lives. And I feel like a lot of people don't take the time to properly heal. And
Yeah.
that's why we stay in our comfort zone. It's like going back to that childlike mentality, like, let me be obedient to what the normal was, but that wasn't the right normal. Does that, like, kind of like what you were saying? So it's like your normal may not be actual normal. And we
Right. It's all
need to,
normal is so relative.
yeah, yeah. And then until we figure out, like, oh, I went through all that, like, wait, that wasn't how my childhood was supposed to be. And then it starts to click, like, okay, so I got to make some changes. I got to surround myself, like what you did. I have to surround myself with right people, with the positive people, with a tribe that's gonna cheer me on, someone, a tribe that's gonna be there for me, with me during the tribulations as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it made the biggest difference for me. It's basically the exact opposite experience that I
Mm-hmm.
had during childhood. No one supporting who I was authentically, so I'm gonna do the exact opposite. Have a lot of support around me for being authentically who I am. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can start identifying, oh, that's what happened. Okay, let's do the exact opposite to because that's probably what you need to do to reach your goal because you have to take that step beyond what's making you uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see, what else did we have to discuss? I'm looking at our notes. We've gone through so much already.
I'm sure we have lots more to say. I will tell you that. So, what there was one thing that I wanted to bring up. So, can I touch on something real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'll tell you this. So, staying staying complacent is going to kill the person inside of you with the purpose.
Mhm.
And if we just allow anything to happen, if we don't have standards or boundaries, if we don't have goals, if we just, again, are in the situation, you're like, you know what, life is okay. I can deal with this. I don't aspire for anything more. I'm okay where I'm at. You're going to get rid of the person inside of you with the purpose,
Mhm.
because each and every one of us has a purpose. And what I've noticed is there's so many people that are out there that are waiting for Lori, waiting for me, waiting for you, whoever is here online watching us. And it's like, until we get out of our comfort zone, we're not going to grow, we're not going to reach other people. I make a joke. So women who are single, I'm like, do you really think that your husband is going to be delivered by Amazon? Like,
Oh
he's
my
not
god.
coming to you. He's not going to be delivered to you. You have to step outside of your house, outside of your comfort zone. I know you like to be in your PJs. I know you like to be comfortable, but you have to step outside in order to find your husband. It's the same concept in life.
Yeah, I remember during my undergrad, very ironically, my roommates would watch hours and hours of Say Yes to the Dress and complain that they never got asked out, even though they never went out. I'm like, I'm going dancing. Anyone want to come? No, I don't know how to dance. I'm like, they teach you
Yeah.
how. Like, no. And then they complain that they're not getting asked out. I'm like, you could go ask someone out. Like, this is the 21st century. And then yeah, it's just so interesting how people don't always see that gap. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
really wanting to say yes to a dress, but you're not willing to take the steps to get there.
Yep, there's a
Yeah.
disconnect. There's a gap in between what what you have and what you desire. And it's like, until
Mhm.
you bridge that gap, you're going to be stuck on this island until you start building that bridge so you can cross over.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things, yeah, that frequently holds people back is that fear of failure. And
Mhm.
usually it's not a fear of failure in regards to, oh, I just didn't meet the goal. It's other people judging us.
Yes.
It's other people seeing a failure in
Yes.
us. And if you start changing that spotlight effect of everyone's going to see that I didn't, get the client or when most of the time people are going to read your post, like if you're an entrepreneur posting online or
Mhm.
whatever, and they're like, oh, that was really helpful information.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll DM them, like, move on. Like, they're not, or you have a misspelling, like, or like, oh, that was misspelled, move on. Like, people are absorbed in their own lives.
Mhm.
They're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, that was so terrible, blah, blah, blah. And if
Yeah.
they are, that's not who you want in your life anyways.
Mhm.
So that fear of failure really is just what other people are placing on you. It's not usually you yourself and your own
Yep.
thoughts.
Yep.
It's what everyone else and all the world has placed upon you that says, you can't do this, you'll probably not get there. And one of the things that I've learned too is that people typically will believe that others can accomplish what they have accomplished and others cannot accomplish what they cannot accomplish.
Mm.
So, like, if you have family members who've started a business and it didn't go well and they failed, or they couldn't keep it going, didn't necessarily
Mhm.
fail, there were lots
Mhm.
of reasons why businesses can't continue. They're probably going to say, I don't know, you really want to take that risk, really want to quit your 9 to 5. you
Hmm.
know there's That's probably them
Mhm.
and their own experience. Don't
Yep.
let others doubt in themselves
Mhm.
be placed upon you and become your inner voice.
Yep. Yep. Which is great that you said that, because one thing I talk about all the time is to how to get rid of your feelings. So feelings are there to, I want to put it like this. When you're driving, the main thing that's moving your vehicle is the engine and the transmission, right? Those are the two main things, right? I don't know much about cars, but I'm going to pick those two things, right? But your feelings are just your blinkers. They're not in control of your car,
Mm.
nor should they be in the front seat. They're there just to signal what's going on, where you're going to, and to allow other people to know where you're moving to. It's the same thing. I think too many people have allowed their feelings to stop them from accomplishing and getting out of that comfort zone, right? So it's like, oh, well, I don't feel like, I don't feel like doing this today. I don't feel like working on my business because what if someone sees it and they think it's stupid, or what if it's something that someone has read before and it's just the same material, or what if it's not impactful? And it's like we get stuck in this mindset thing of, oh, my feelings, what about their feelings? So sometimes it's not even our feelings. We're here worried about how somebody else is going to feel about what we do, which is
Mm-hmm.
what we need to get rid of. Our feelings should not dictate what we do and don't do.
Right. We are human.
Yep.
We have executive functions
Yep.
that can enable us to make different decisions than just instinct and emotion.
Mm-hmm.
We can understand that, making a particular decision that's reactive may
Mm-hmm.
not achieve whatever goal we have long term.
Yep.
Yeah. So just focusing on, okay, this is making you feel this way. Okay, let yourself feel that. That's
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Yep.
And recognize it. So then you know what it's telling you. Like, feelings are there to help keep us safe in a way, right? They're a warning. They tell us, something about the situation, but it doesn't mean they should dictate the ultimate decisions that we make
Mm-hmm.
for our relationships or whatever goals that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes we may have a feeling like I'm not good enough, but we should be doing it, right? So our
Mhm.
feelings will tell us, oh, let me not do this. Or our feelings will tell us, let's jump and do this. And it's like, wait, hold on. Did you think about this logically? What are going to be the effects of doing
Right.
X, Y, and Z? So we all obviously, just like it's like the emergency light. You hit it, it's flashing lights. So something's going on. Do we know exactly what it is? No, but it's now time to pay attention to what is going around that vehicle. Maybe
Mhm.
something broke down, maybe somebody's hurt. We don't know what it is. So it's the time to evaluate it. So think of your
Mhm.
feelings as something to evaluate logically and not just be based off of our emotions or take action off of our emotions.
Right. Assess it, don't judge
Mm-hmm.
it. Those are
Yes.
different things. And
Yep.
a judgment is just assessment, but a judgment is more emotional. It's
Yep.
like, you carries lots of shame frequently,
Mm.
whereas an assessment is more matter of fact. Like, what does that mean? Being curious about it rather than like shaming yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad this is helpful for you, Rachel and Sheridan. And I'm
Oh,
glad that the owning your power, like that frame is helpful for you, Vera. Amazing. And thank you, Rebecca, for being here. I always love your support as an entrepreneur too. You're amazing. So, any questions before we part from anyone? Is there anything you want to share before we end our conversation, and just any other little tidbit that you want to tell us?
let me see. I feel like there was still a few things that we could have touched on, right? Um, Other than the last tidbit is that we lose our identity in our comfort zone.
Mhm.
Just keep that in mind, that when we are complacent, when we stay in our comfort zone, we lose our identity, because again, we're not living out in purpose in our personal
Yes.
and professional lives.
Yes. So
But we'll
true.
love to hear any questions.
Will you have more sessions like this coming up? I do a LinkedIn Live every single week on a variety of different topics. And Brianna or Bianca, tell us about what you have coming up that could be a benefit to your audience.
So I have a few things. So this week I actually have a 5-day challenge. It's called Unleashing Your Potential, Mastering Your Life with Ease. So today's day 2. Tomorrow we'll be continuing day 3. And tomorrow is actually going to be, today was pain to pleasure. Tomorrow is going to be discovering liability and assets in your life. So that's going to be, if you go to my website, I don't know if we could put it on here somewhere, or I can even drop the information, but
Yeah,
they can
I can put
register
it in
for
here.
that. Perfect. They can register for that. And I'm definitely going to be having some more coaching programs coming up too. There is going to be something that I have coming up at the end of June. So all that information is always going to be on my website. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me.
Okay, what's your website name? And I'll put it right here in the comments.
Oh, perfect. So it's I am, or I could throw it in the chat too. You let me know.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, please do, says Sheridan. Amazing. So, as far as me and what I have coming up, I will be doing another live next week. And it's the same day. I think it's at 11, if I'm remembering correctly, Mountain Time. But I will be posting about that tomorrow and inviting everyone. So, watch out for that. And I'll, of course, invite everyone who is here today. Let us know if you have any other questions in the comments or send us a DM. I am currently offering free strategy calls to help you advance your career by helping you feel more confident, understanding what questions to ask in an interview so you get the kind of boss that you really want and you know what you are getting before you sign your offer letter, and just helping you to strategize a little bit better for internal advancement, job search, or helping you be perceived as how you really want to be in your career. And Bianca is amazing as a life coach, helping people to identify what it is that they need to do to bridge that gap between intent and impact in their life, career, and as entrepreneurs. Thank you for doing this with me, Bianca. I really appreciate the
You're
time you took
welcome.
to prep this with me and, this
This is
30-minute call. So
awesome.
it's
Yes,
been
I
amazing.
I did put the because I don't know if it's actually updated on my website, but I do have my website and my beacon there. But I think it's on a private chat. I don't know. Can you ladies see what I placed in the chat? Or Lori, are you the only one that's able to see that?
Okay, it says I can't post comments to all destinations. So what we can do on LinkedIn and YouTube is we can just put it in there after we're done, and people will be able to see it.
Okay, perfect. Here,
Like directly on LinkedIn instead of through StreamYard. That'll work fine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So ladies, just make sure you go back and then you'll be able to look at it. Yeah, because it's not letting me, but that's all right.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, I saw the link. Rachel says she did.
Perfect. And I'll have it on my LinkedIn. If you go to my LinkedIn, I'll make sure that I go ahead and post that today so that way you see it. Because I don't think it's on my actual website. It's on my beacon.
Okay, amazing. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here and for your
Yes.
comments. We hope this was helpful for you. Feel free to reach out to either of us to help you get out of your comfort zone and unleash your potential. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care.